Hi there, this is Jonathan Gorman with iCreative, and today we're going to talk about Airdrop. Airdrop is a term that we use to wirelessly send files, photos, and other content from one Apple product to another, and it does so wirelessly using a combination of both Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. On an iPhone, if you swipe down from the top right, you're going to notice that there's a little Bluetooth icon to the right of Wi-Fi. If you hard press on this little menu comes up, and in the bottom left is Airdrop, and it's currently set to accept any Airdrop queries from everyone. If I tap on this button, I can change that setting to turn Airdrop off completely to receive Airdrop requests only from people in my contacts or from anybody that's in proximity to this particular device. You can always count on Airdrop working because of Bluetooth within about 20 to 25 feet from one device to the next. You can't normally be in one or two rooms over. You're going to always want to try to connect using Airdrop to someone that's pretty close to you because of the limitations of Bluetooth technology. In our first example, you can go into your contacts. You can select a member of your contacts, and if you scroll down to the bottom, it will give you an opportunity to share that person's contact information using Airdrop. If you tap on this, it's currently going to show all of the available Airdrop devices in your vicinity. And in this case, I'm just simply going to tap on Alexa Safoyan so that I can share her information. Once I tap on that, she's going to get an opportunity to accept the invitation for me to share her information over. Now I can click on Done. Airdrop, however, is not limited to only contacts. You can also use it as a really handy way to get a whole bunch of photos, videos, or other content from one device to the next. Let's go into the Photos application. We're going to click on See All to see all of our albums. We're going to go into Nature, and there's a whole bunch of photos in the California 2021 album that I'd like to share with Alexis. She was also on this trip, and she has a whole bunch of photos of her own that she's going to airdrop to me, and I'm going to take all of these and share them with her. So the first thing I'm going to do is tap on Select in the top. I can use my finger to swipe across these photos to save me from having to tap on each one of them individually. And in this way, I'm selecting 3 photos at a time as I make my way through the list. Now that I've selected all of them, I'm simply going to use the Share button, which is the square with the arrow jumping out of it in the bottom left. With one tap, I can see all of the AirPlay, or rather Airdrop devices in my vicinity, and I'm just simply going to tap on Alexa Safoyan, the one that has the little Airdrop icon on it. With a single tap, she's going to have the ability to accept the invitation to receive all the photos that I've shared, and it shows you a little circle that goes around her icons to show you the progress of that. And once it successfully is received by her device, it then says Sent. On macOS, the process of using Airdrop is also very simple. The way to get started is to open a new Finder window. And right in the Finder window, you're going to notice that there's an Airdrop option on the left-hand side. If for any reason it's not showing there, you can go to the Finder menu top left, go to Preferences, go to Sidebar, and just make sure that the Airdrop button is checked. You'll also need to make sure that under System Preferences, Bluetooth is on, and also Wi-Fi. Now that I've selected Airdrop, it's going to show me instantly the available Airdrop devices that are in my proximity. And if the other people are not seeing your device, you can click on Everyone and make sure that that's set to Everyone or Contacts Only. And at that point, you now have the ability to select any number of files. I'm going to select these 3 images and drag them over to Alexis. a pop-up happens on Alexis's computer, and if she accepts them, those 3 images will now be saved to her downloads folder. That's all there is to it. If an iPhone was in proximity, we could drag and drop any file or photo onto that image right here on the screen, and the same behavior for them to accept our request to send them files would pop up on that device. That's all there is to it. Today we're going to talk about all of the cool things that you can do, or some of the cool things that you can do in terms of sharing photos and creating really cool and interesting projects. So the first thing I'd like to do is get started by talking a little bit about Airdrop on the Mac. The first thing you'll need to do on the Mac is make sure that Bluetooth is enabled. And to do that, you'll go to System Preferences, and then to Bluetooth, and you're just going to make sure that Bluetooth is on here. To see nearby devices that also have Bluetooth enabled, you're just going to go into the Finder by clicking on the Finder guy in the bottom of the dock, and then select Airdrop. Now, this Mac is only visible to people that are in my contacts, but if I want to make it to anybody that's close to me, either over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, I have to make that selection. So the neat thing about this is that if I saw a nearby iPhone or iPad that a friend of mine has, I could really quickly and easily drag any kind of files or movies or photos over to that person's device. They will get a prompt that says, do you want to accept these? In the case of photos, it puts them right into the Photos program for them on their device. So as an example, if I selected an image, I could just drag this image over to that person's device. They would easily be notified by way of a sound, a little pop-up on their screen on their iPhone or iPad or even on their Mac, and they would just click on Accept. If they accept this on a Mac, it's automatically going to go into the Downloads folder on their device. On iPhone, there's a very easy way to share things using Airdrop as well, and we'll cover that in another video. So this is really handy when, maybe you get home and you've had a trip with a bunch of friends and you've got tons of photos that you want to just share with somebody that's in proximity to you and your devices. So I found this to be really a powerful way to do that. And so, getting a chance to explore that might show you great value. Now, the second thing is all about shared albums. And shared albums are a way for us to have a kind of a community shoebox. And I want to tell you what I mean by that. Let's pretend for a moment that a group of us, maybe my aunt, my uncle, a couple of my cousins, my mom, dad, and my brother, we all went on this big trip to the Bahamas in 2019. Now, when we're on that trip, all of us are taking tons of photos with our iPhones, and we're all having different experiences. Maybe the gals went out to lunch one day and they got some really great pictures of where they were. And some of the boys went off to go for a hike or a bike ride, and they had their own experiences. And meanwhile, we're all capturing those experiences on each of our devices. Even if all of us are enjoying the same get-together, we may just capture, some people may have been able to capture better moments than others. Someone's eyes might have been closed, or just wasn't a good picture of them. But suddenly we realize that each one of us has a whole bunch of different experiences that are really cool from that same trip. And sometimes we just want to save them and share them. So the first thing we're going to do is create a shared album in the Photos program. You can do this on iOS. I'm going to cover Airdrop and shared albums on iOS in a different video. But this is really kind of a cool and compelling feature. So the concept is, with a shared album, we're ultimately creating what I would refer to as a little shoebox that everybody in the group that attended that trip could contribute their photos to that shoebox. We then share that shoebox of photos to everyone else in the form of an email. So we're going to broadcast it out to everybody. And that email that they receive has a link that they can click. Would you like to subscribe to Jonathan's shared album that's called Bahamas 2019? If they choose to do that, then instantly in their shared albums section of, in this case, the Photos app on a Mac, it's instantly going to appear. So how do you first create it? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be in the shared albums section here. If I hover my mouse over the words shared albums, I see the plus appear, and I'm just going to click on a new album name. I'm going to call this I've already created the album, but I wanted to just show how this part of it works. And now I just click on invite people. Now I can invite, let's just say that we want to add our friend Jonathan. So I'm going to start typing Jonathan's email address, and suddenly he pops up right there. And from this contact sheet, I can actually select that email address. I can continue to click plus or type in manually other people's email addresses, and this is the way that I'm going to inform them that this new shared album exists. And I put a little message, and then I click on create. And now I have this little empty container. So from here, I would normally just go to my library, and I can start to cruise through all of the photos from that particular trip. And let's say that there was some photos from 2014. I can just simply start dragging images into this new shared album. And I can just spend some time kind of going through and figuring out the ones that I think are best and most appropriate. And that's really all there is to it. You know, all these nice photos of the desert and nature I'm putting in there. And what happens is these are all getting pulled up into the cloud and are there then being shared with everybody that was in that list. So this is the one that I've created, and I've also went ahead and shared that and used the invitation feature. And let's go see what the recipient would receive. So this was the first one that I created this morning. If I click on subscribe here, then instantly across all of my Apple devices, there's going to be a new shared album in there called Bahamas 2019. And then you can even see the test one that I just made as well. And it's just that fast. So all they need to do is click on this little subscribe button, and suddenly it will pop into on all of their Apple devices as if they had created this folder. Now the best part about this is that they can select all these photos and they can download them directly into their own library, because these don't need to have take up physical storage on their device unless they actually want to save them into their own library. So these don't take up space on their devices and are not part of their actual library until they do that. So that's an important thing to know. But the best part of this is that this shoebox appears the same to everybody. So if the second person on the list goes into their library and they drag photos into Bahamas 2019, suddenly everybody else will receive those updates. And that's kind of the subscription part of this, which I think is really the coolest thing ever. Remember, too, that the moment that this is accomplished, everyone is going to be able to contribute, download, share, and have a lot of fun with all the photos that they might be able to share from that same shared experience. So I think this is a really fun and compelling feature, and I think that you should get in there and play with it and see if it finds value. Now, the next thing that I want to do, however, is I want to print this particular image. And so for me to make really cool and compelling prints, I'm now going to use a feature that is new to the Photos app. Apple used to allow us to upload photos to their servers, and then they would make prints of a lot of our images. They stopped doing that. That's the bad news. But the good news is, in exchange, they opened it up to all kinds of wonderful third-party vendors that are going to allow us to see their services and be able to take our images right from this program and engage with them directly. So that's what we're going to talk about next. One of the most incredible features of the Photos program that I don't think many people know about is the possibility of taking an existing photo or set of photos and creating some really cool experiences with the photos that you already have in your photo library. Apple used to offer a service where you could print photos, you could upload them to Apple, and then they would mail you, printed items in the mail. And they no longer offer this service. That's the bad news. The good news is they've opened it up to some really wonderful third-party people that are doing really cool and compelling things that were never really available before. So to get started, the first thing that you're going to do is we're first going to pretend that we want to create maybe a book or something like that with a handful of photos. So I'm going to select a photo album of my own. Let me just see if I can find something that we think is cool. Okay, so maybe I wanted to make a book of my summer in 2019 when I went to Paris. There's some fun pictures of the Louvre and some really great experiences. And normally I would just go up to the File menu and I would go to the Create menu, and then there I would choose what I was trying to create, whether it was a book or a calendar or a card. But this list has grown quite a bit. And the best thing about it is that as it has grown because now they've opened it to all kinds of wonderful new people. So in this case, as I go to book, there's actually nothing listed there. So what is all this business about the App Store? Well, the neat thing is that when I click on this, the Photos app is actually going to take me to the App Store itself, where it's going to show me all of the people that have created software that integrates directly into the Photos program. This is where things start to become really cool and the options become a lot more diverse. So when we get to this screen, they're basically saying to us, hey, if you'd like to beautify your books, go ahead and download from these 4 providers. So I'm just going to click on each one of these little clouds and start downloading the software that will integrate directly into the Photos program. If I want to hang it up and create cool mounted artwork, wall decor, I believe is what the term I was searching for. And it's even going to ask me to authenticate with my account. And these are all free purchases. All of the software that I'm downloading and integrating directly into the Photos app are free. And then once I choose products and interact with their services, that's when we are able to pay for some things. And there's even Good Times collages. Wow, that must be pretty cool. Just the app itself costs $20. And I'm going to click on Picta Photo Printing. I've never actually purchased that, so I'm kind of curious what those guys are up to. Now, when the software is done downloading, you're going to notice that they now have an open distinction to the right of them instead of download or install. And that means that the software is now physically on the computer. So I'm going to push the App Store over for a minute, and I'm going to go back to my Photos program. And now I'm going to go up to the File menu, and I'm going to go to Create. And now when I go to Book, there are all these kind of cool and wonderful options. So each one of these choices that I have now are a result of the fact that I have downloaded the software from the App Store, and their software provides an interface right within the Photos app in order for me to get started. Now that we've downloaded the apps that are necessary to integrate directly into the Photos app on Mac, we're able to now go and create some really cool projects. The process is pretty simple. From the beginning, what you're going to do is organize a bunch of your photos into a single album, in this case, Paris 2019. Once you've organized all your photos, now it's possible for us to go and create some projects based on the photos that we've organized into that album. What we're now going to try to do is set up a new book. And so I'm going to go to the File menu and go to Create Book. And these are all of the apps that we downloaded from the App Store and are now fully integrated inside of the Photos program. I'm going to click on Mimeo Photos. What happens next is that it opens Mimeo's actual interface for doing all of our various books on their system. So we're kind of shopping in their store at this point. I'd like a larger book, so I think this 13 by 10 size is going to be pretty great. But we do have a variety of options. So the first thing I'll do is start with one that has the right size and the right price. It starts with 20 pages, and you can add additional pages if you'd like. It's going to usually ask me for permission to access my photos, and then once I've done that, it's actually created a brand new project for us based on the size that we've chosen, and shows us all of these wonderful books that they sell that are kind of organized for us into templates. So I'm just going to kind of cruise through all these neat options and try to come up with something that might look pretty cool for Paris. It's pretty amazing what these guys are doing. I'd like something that's a little bit modern and sort of simple. So I'm going to click on this book. And the next thing that happens is it gives you an interface. All of these different vendors are going to present an interface and allow you to kind of drag and drop photos in, format some of the text, and create something that's really cool and compelling right within the Photos app. When I'm finished, I'm going to click on Buy, and then what's going to happen is all of those photos and everything that I've accomplished in this app is going to be uploaded to that particular vendor's servers, and then they will ding the credit card that's associated with my iTunes account on this Mac, and then they're going to simply mail us the book to our home address or our work address. So I'm going to click on Photo, and this is going to actually give me an opportunity to look at all of the photos that I have. It looks like maybe it hasn't seen all of my photos. But you jump in and you kind of go through all of these different settings to format text in their case, and to add borders to any of the photos. And meanwhile, over here to the left, you're going to see that I've now got a brand new project that was automatically created for Paris 2019. It even has the Mimeo icon over here on the left. And that's going to allow me to just kind of go back to any of these various projects that I've done in the past to, start where I left off, or to create another one that's very similar, because everything has already been sort of formatted by me. So creating this actual book isn't something that we're going to cover in this video, but I wanted to give you a chance to kind of get in and see how neat and easy it is. Now I'm going to go back up to Paris 2019, and we're going to try to find a really cool photo so that I can show some of the other amazing things that you can do. Let's pretend for a moment that this photo right here, which actually wasn't taken in Paris, was something that we wanted to print and make something into some really cool wall decor. I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Create, and this time I'm going to select Wall Decor. Our friends over at Whitewall, I know, have done some really amazing things, and here's what's really cool. I can instantly look at all of the wonderful things that these guys offer, and in this case, I'm interested in their mounting products. They've got modern frames and traditional frames, and they can make really cool prints based on these photos. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to select mounting, and here's where it gets really cool. You can actually take this image and put it onto an HD metal, very thin aluminum that's very glossy and neat looking, and then it's kind of mounted in the back so that it looks like the image is actually floating above the wall. It's really cool. Photo print on aluminum backing, or I can even go photo print under acrylic glass. I'm going to select the metal print and say Create. And it pulls that photo up into their world and kind of presents this as a 16-inch by 12-inch photo. And that is the medium size. I can even put a frame onto it by clicking through these things, and it automatically adds it so I can have a quick look. Now I'm interested in kind of the larger size, and that's actually going to be really cool. If I click on the image itself, it's going to be 24.4 times 18 by 4 inches. And then I've said, I don't think that I actually want to frame it all. I want it to kind of just be hovering above the wall. And with a single click, I can click on buy, and that image is going to show up on our doorstep before too long at all. It's really amazing what they're doing. So get in there and play with all of these different vendors' offerings, because this is just one of the many people that are creating these wonderful apps to integrate directly into the Photos program on Mac. And then last but not least, you can go and you can create calendars, cards, or prints. And maybe I just wanted to send out a quick holiday card to, 20 of my closest friends. Let's go over to our friends at Motif and see what these guys are up to. If I wanted a folded card as 7 by 5, folded card 5 by 7. So this is going to be kind of a portrait, and this is going to be a landscape orientation. Those are $169 each. I kind of like that size, so I'm going to say create. It's going to pull this photo up into their world and give us all kinds of really neat options to choose from. So really easy to kind of get in here and select a card and make some necessary changes. And then once you're done creating it, then you can literally buy it, choose the amount, order it right here, and magically all of these beautiful products will show up on your desktop shortly thereafter. So the key to this is to first organize photos into albums. And once they're put into albums, then in the case of making a book, you do need 20 or 30 or 40 pictures to create that book. So you'll put all the things that you think are going to work really well in a book into an album. Once the album has been created, you'll then go to the File menu, go to Create, go to Book. If your book menu is blank, it's because you'll need to go to the App Store and download all of these wonderful vendors' software integrations that will talk right to the Photos app. And you can make calendars and cards. And the minute that you've chosen a product, you'll literally build the book right here in the Photos app. And when you're finished and you're satisfied that everything looks pretty good, you'll click on the purchase button, and away it goes. The order's been placed, and that book will magically show up on your desktop a short time later. Another cool thing to think about is that after you've created that book, the Photos app is going to automatically create a brand new project. You can see all these little test projects I've been playing around with over the years, and each one of them is really easy for you to go back into, make some additional edits. Maybe you really like the way that the Christmas book looked last year, and once you've got that, you can really use that as a template of your own to go in and create additional books. So get in there and have some fun editing all of these wonderful photos and taking advantage of some of these vendors that are integrated directly into the Photos app. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.